Hey, it's Marshall Tingle with your Superior Ag Insurance Ringside Report for this past week, the week of November 29th all the way up to Friday, December the 3rd. Now, the market as a whole this past week was very, very busy. You know, we had such a light run the previous week with the holidays going on and everything, so numbers this week were up drastically. That's both on your feeder calf market as far as your small groups of feeder calves as well as your loads. So I saw a whole lot of loads traded this week. Now, as far as the market in general, as far as how you could report it or how the USDA reports it, you couldn't really get a good, accurate, solid number on there just because a lot of the yards were closed down last week on the back half of the week. But what I'm calling and what a lot of people have called is your feeder calf market on your steers. We're going to be a solid $3 to $6 higher. Your yearling market took a huge jump. Super high demand on these yearling cattle right now. You saw a $5 to $10 increase on them in a lot of places, and even in some places on your heifer cattle, you even saw a $5 to $10 increase on those heifers as well. Now, let's talk about your steer cattle market on your feeder steers. Your full-weight feeder steers this past week were going to be pretty solid, $1.60 to $1.70, and they topped out this week at about $1.80. Now, your 5-weight steer cattle, somewhere in that $1.50 to $1.60 range, with the top being somewhere around $1.70 to $1.75. And your 6-weights this week, about $1.35 up to $1.50, with an average on those being about $1.42 to $1.45. Like I said, still seeing a really, really strong demand on those weaned and preconditioned type cattle. And then once you start getting into your balling calves, your new crop calves, that deal's still pretty spotty. If the quality's in the cattle and the type and condition is right on them, you do see a premium. But other than that, it can be kind of a spotty market there. But like I said, if they are preconditioned and weaned, the market's pretty solid on them. Now let's talk about your groups this past week. Like I said, saw a whole lot of big groups and loads come through here. Let's go through your steer cattle now. These will all be steers. You've got 21 head of steer cattle now. Not a load to start off, but an outstanding trade. 21 head of these steers, all black, 515 pounds on the average at $1.71. Going up here, getting your 6-weight cattle. Here's 88 head of these. These are going to be all blacks as well. 678 pounds on the average at 162 and a quarter. And then you've got another set here. Get in your 7-weight cattle. 76 head of these. These are going to be black and Charolais crosses. 705 pounds on the average at $1.59 even. Now, go on up here into your big set of these. Now, these are going to be blacks and Charolais on these, or black and mixed, actually. 195 head of these. These are going to be 755 pounds on the average at $1.60 even. So a nice trade. Now here's another big set. I'm getting your 8-weight steers. Here's 145 head of these. These are going to be mixed cattle now. 808 on the average at 157 and a quarter. And then go on here. Here's 110 head of these. These are going to be all blacks, 900 pounds on the money, 900 smooth, 157.80. Now, going here's another set of 100 of them now. These are going to be all blacks as well. 945 pounds on the average on these, so just a little bit heavier at 153.85. And then here's another set of them, 56 head of these. These are going to be blacks and Charolais cross steers, 967 pounds on the average at 152.10. So like you can see, there's a really big increase in demand and on price on these big yearling cattle. I think a lot of it has to do with how we've got some extra money on our fats. And the board had looked pretty optimistic there for a little bit, and I think it will too. I think it'll stay pretty optimistic here as we go on down the line. Now, let's talk about your heifer trade. Not a whole lot of heifers, but still some outstanding trade on these, and these all came on the back side of the week. The first side of the week was a little bit lighter price-wise, but by Thursday, a lot of these cattle were rocking and rolling in your heifer department. Now, here's 74 head of these. These are going to be black-coated heifers, 545 pounds on the average at 159 even. Then here goes 85 head of these, just a little bit heavier. These are going to be Charolais cross heifers now. Charolais crosses, 637 pounds on the average on these at 152.85. And then go on up just a little bit heavier here now. Back in your blacks, 62 head of these, black-coated heifers, 689 pounds on the average at 152 and a quarter. So a nice trade on those. Now, what do we expect as we keep going on in through next week and the weeks to come here? I think the next 2 weeks are probably going to be still really, really strong. Big runs going through your barns, and I wouldn't expect too much change in your numbers. If anything, they might fluctuate a little bit. You know, as of this morning, they've taken a little bit of money off the futures board, both on the live cattle and on your feeder cattle deal. But I think the demand for these cattle is still pretty strong as everybody's trying to clean up the rest of the year. Now, also, as you get closer to the last part of the month, I'd say your lightweight feeder cattle is probably going to taper off just a little bit, strictly on demand, just where nobody's going to be wanting to start any of these cattle out right here at the holiday season. But I'd say for the next 2 weeks, as long as we can still get trucks underneath these cattle, the market's still going to stay pretty strong on them. So keep an eye on all that. Now, like I said, they did back the futures market down a little bit this morning. Go ahead and look through that and check over your CMEs as you come up. And if you have an LRP, a livestock risk protection policy, keep an eye on that and kind of see where you stand on that. And if you're putting in some of these fresh cattle, now would be probably a really, really good time to invest in one of these LRPs, a livestock risk protection policy. It's a really great way to kind of cover your bases and give you an idea number where to shoot for. So if you have any questions on an LRP or for any of your livestock risk protection policy needs or ag insurance needs, reach out to us. It's Ian Thomas at 859-613-2453. Keep up with us on social media or check us out on the website at www.superioragins.com. See you next week.